Hi, very good morning. Sorry for the little technical glitch initially for 2 to 3 minutes. Welcome to our third series on the Do It With Me concept. Friends, as you all know, in today's session, we will be talking on the financial functions. As you know, financial functions are something which is very important when we work with the financial modeling. My target is at least to cover 10 to 15 financial functions with hands-on. I'll just wait for another 1 or 2 minutes because I'm just surprising whether people are in a position to log in. Let me just wait for another 2 minutes. Friends, for today's session, we don't have any pre-formatted template. I request everyone to open one blank Excel file because we will be doing everything from the scratch. So let me save this file. I request everyone to open one blank Excel file. In fact, after my session, everything I'll be keeping into a website and I'll keep the working file in the description. You can download the answer file after the session. I request you to save the file. No problem. I'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes because I joined little late. I request everyone, please open one blank Excel file and save the file with the financial functions name. Today's session gonna be most important. I request please share this link to your friends, whoever working with the financial functions, whoever would like to have better knowledge on the same. I'll wait for another 1 or 2 minutes. Hi, good morning, Mr. Ajay. Hi, good morning, Dhanush. I request you all to share this link at your Facebook or maybe Twitter or WhatsApp so that more members will get benefit out of the today's session. Okay, friends, as you know, in Excel, there are so many functions. But when we look independently, the functions are more than 450. In Excel, the functions number is 450 plus functions are available. Some of the functions are most important, some of the functions are less important, some of the functions are domain specific, and so on. Means when I want to look into the engineering functions as a chartered accountant or a finance domain person, I may not use it day in and day out. Maybe financial domain people may not use trigonometry functions day in and day out. Maybe statistical, the people who are working on the statistics, whoever the statisticians, they may not work with the engineering functions day in and day out. Though we have 450 plus functions, Excel properly categorized all these functions into different buckets. If I look into the formulas, you will find all the functions categories here. This is the financial function. This is the logical function category. This is the text functions, date and time functions. This is the lookup and reference functions, maths and trigonometry. There are a bunch of functions, statistical functions, engineering functions, cube functions, information functions, compatibility, web functions. There are so many categories of the functions. Maybe if you ask for a finance domain, The most important function than any other category is the financial functions, because every function in this category is useful for the finance guy maybe once or twice whenever he is working on the financial modeling. Some of the functions he has to work, he has to learn before he is trying to make any financial modeling. So out of the functions, I'm going to explain you bunch of couple of functions today. Let me have a function name. Let me write what this function does. So what it returns. So this file I'm going to share across with you. Whenever I go into a case study, you can go along with me. So maybe today's session in next 10 to 15 minutes, let me give you first of all the theory part so that you can understand how each financial functions exactly does in the Excel. There is one function, we all know it, that is NPV function. Another beauty part of the financial functions categories are other functions. You must understand what that function does. You must be very careful to know how many arguments are there, what is the syntax and so on. But in case of financial functions, the only thing you need to concentrate is you should understand the concept of the financial. For example, if you want to work with the NPV function in MS Excel, before working with MS Excel, you must know what is NPV. So NPV function gives me the net present value for the consistent cash inflows and cash outflows, right? So this is the name of the function. There is one more function we have, that is XNPV function. Today I'm going to cover even this function. What is the difference between NPV and XNPV? I don't know how many of you worked with an XNPV function till now. NPV function works with consistent cash inflows and outflows. That means my cash inflow and outflow is exactly after 1 year, right? When in the case of XNPV, it is inconsistent periods. Let's say cash inflows and outflows are inconsistent. If that is the case, how can you calculate your NPV function? For your information, if you are using 2007 version, XNPV function is not available. So XNPV function is available from 2010 version. There is one more function, that is IRR function. IRR calculates the internal rate of return. I'm sure everyone knows about the concept of IRR. IRR means it is giving you a rate at which your net present value is 0. This is in case of consistent periods. Consistent periods. Basically, net present value for the cash inflows and outflows for consistent periods. This is the same for inconsistent periods. There is one more function introduced in 2010 version, that is XIRR. XIRR is exactly the same. That is in case of inconsistent periods. That means my cash inflow or outflow may not be exactly after 1 year. Generally, when we have written our chartered accountancy exam or any of the BCom exams, when they ask a question of the NPV or IRR, by default assumption is that after 1 year cash inflow, after second year cash inflow, after third year cash inflow and so on. But we never got across a situation. Today there is an investment, initial investment. After 45 days, there is one more investment. After 282 days, there is an outflow. But we never found those type of situations. But covering those type of situations is XNPV and XIRR. These functions introduced in 2010 version. Whoever joined in the session late, friends, for today's session, there is no pre-formatted template for you. For today's session, I request everyone to open a blank Excel. Whenever I start talking about the case studies, you can just go ahead. Initially, let me tell you little basics of financial functions. These all are the functions in MS Excel, and financial functions is the one which you are covering, right? There is one more function which we'll cover today, that is FE function. As you know, the name suggests it's going to give us the future value. So it returns the future value. It's very simple. It's very simple. Future value means, for example, I'm investing today 100 rupees. After 4 years, I want to know how much I'm going to get. Let's say the interest rate is 10%. There is one more function called present value. This returns the present value. There is one more function called rate. What this function does, you know, it's going to calculate the interest or discount rate. These are all of the functions today I'll be covering. There is one more function, NPER. NPER, that's the way you need to read this function. That means number of periods. There is one more function, that is PMT function, payment. Basically, this calculates the equated installment. Generally, we call it as a EMI. That's a monthly equated installment. But this function calculates equated installment that can be either monthly or quarterly or half yearly or yearly. You can define whatever you want. But friends, if you observe, your entire calculation work around these 5 functions. Check it out. If I want to calculate PMT, I want these 4 must be the inputs. If I want to calculate the number of periods, remaining 4 must be inputs for me. If I want to calculate the rate, remaining 4 must be the inputs. That means in MS Excel, in the financial category, there are so many around functions. That means if you know the 4 facts, finding other fact is very simple. Okay, so if you want to calculate equated installment, there are 4 parameters which are required. One is rate, the other one is number of periods, the other one is present value or the future value. Based on the case study, we'll go. When it comes to the PMT, equated installment includes both. What are they? They are principal and interest, both portion is there. If I want to know what is the principal portion for the nth period, for which we have a function called PPMT. P means principal, PMT is an equated installment. That means principal portion in the equated installment. So let me write here, principal portion in the equated installment, right? When there is a function of PPMT, I'm sure there must be a function of IPMT. IPMT, interest portion in the equated installment. I'm sure you can ask a question, Mr. Sharan. Yeah, I'm sure you can ask a question, Sharan, for which period equated installment of principal and interest? Because for every EMI, principal will change, interest will change. Generally, in the initial periods, interest is more. When we are going towards the maturity, interest will be less. When it comes to the principal, initial period, principal is small. When we go towards the maturity period, principal is more. So, principal portion in the equated installment of nth period. Okay, this is also of nth period. Right? There are 2 more beautiful functions. When we are finding PPMT, there is one more function, CUMPPMT. What this function does, it's going to return the cumulative principal portion in the equated installment from X period to Y period. That means, let's say one client came to my office on 31st July of the assessment year. Then he has given me his form 16. I have seen his form 16. I found there is a income from the house property. That's nothing but the loss. He said, sir, yes, sir, I have a housing loan. Then I asked him, what is the certificate you have with respect to the housing loan? He said, sir, I'm not having any housing loan certificate. Then how can you calculate what is the principal portion which will be part of ATC? What is the interest portion which will be part of 24, section 24? If that, let's say that details are not available in the form 16, we found it by looking into his bank statement or some conversation. Okay, if that is the case, I'll be using the cumulative principal function, and there is one more function, cumulative interest payment. Don't confuse with these names. It's not a CUMPPMT, it is CUMIPMT, CUMPRINC. This is the same thing, but it's a cumulative interest portion, right? These all are the functions day in and day out we are going to use when we are working with any of the financial modeling. While we are calculating, these functions are mandatory, we must learn, right? As I said, understanding a function is very simple because 90% of the cases of the financial functions, the function name itself is indicating what that function does. NPV, net present value, XNPV for the inconsistent periods, and so on. But here the most important thing is, what are the inputs we need to give for each function? Friends, as you all know, in a function, inputs are nothing but the arguments. If you don't give the input, it will not calculate. If Excel is not calculating, it's going to pop up a message. It is as simple as it. For example, if I write NPV, if I open bracket, close bracket, if I enter, Excel is giving me a pop-up message stating that, Mr. Sharan, you are asking me to calculate the NPV function, but unfortunately, you are not given me any inputs to which I can consider in the calculation. That's the reason I'll give you the pop-up message. So let us try to identify what are the inputs which are required to calculate all these functions. As I told you, financial functions are very simple to understand if you know the concepts, right? If I want to calculate the NPV, can you tell me in the chat box what may be the inputs, anyone? It's very simple. I need to have, first of all, the rate. Yes. Along with the rate, I should have cash inflows or cash outflows. These two must be the parameters. Parameters are something which we are going to keep it into a syntax. Syntax is something which is defining how you need to keep the parameters in what sequence. So rate is one parameter. Cash inflow or outflow are the other parameters. If I have these two, I'm sure I can easily calculate the NPV function. For XNPV, what do you want? In case of XNPV, I'm mentioning inconsistent periods. That means somewhere in my function, I need to even give the dates also when the cash inflow and outflow is happening. Yes. So I need to have a rate. I should also have cash inflow and outflow. Along with that, I must have the dates. So for each respective date, what is the cash inflow? If I have 10 dates, for each respective date, what is the cash inflow or what is the cash outflow? Right? For IRR, it's very simple. It is simply cash inflow or cash outflows. I'm sure you all remember in our school days or maybe college days, when we are calculating IRR, first we'll guess two rates. Generally, our IRR must be between those two rates. So guess is also one of the things for the time being you can ignore, right? Now, XIRR. XIRR function is exactly does the same, but I told you for inconsistent periods, so dates is also one of the parameters. Okay, if I want to calculate the future value, let's say I asked you, I want to calculate future value, then immediately you will ask, of course, Sharon, I'll calculate the future value, but give me minimum parameters. What are the minimum details I'm going to ask the other person? Please tell me what is the rate of interest. Please tell me how many number of periods. Also, please tell me what is the present value, right? And also if PMT is available, right? So either the present value or the PMT I'm going to ask, then rate of NPR is something which is mandatorily required. So if I want to calculate the future value, these three are the minimum parameters which are required. If I want to calculate the present value, same parameters, but instead of PV, I am going to take future value. Simple. Now, if I want to calculate the rate, now you can play with this data. If I want to calculate with the rate, same parameters I want, but this time I want the present value and what is the EMI or else any equated installment. Obviously, right? If I have an equated installment, if I have the present value, that's nothing but an investment. If I have the number of periods, then other parameter is very simple to know. For example, if I want to calculate the number of periods, now I'm going to put instead of this rate. As I told you, financial functions are very simple. If you know one function, other functions you can calculate very easily. PMT. PMT is something which is nothing but a equated installment. Let's say I have taken a loan from a bank. Bank calculate equated installment based on three parameters. One parameter is rate of interest. Other parameter is for how many periods you are going to pay the loan. And the third parameter is how much is the loan you are taking today. That's nothing but a present value. That means if I want to calculate the PMT, three parameters are sufficient. There is a function called PPMT, as I told you, right? So if I want to calculate the principal portion for the nth period, so I need to give all these three parameters. Along with that, there is an extra parameter called PER. The language you need to understand in the financial functions, PER means nth period. NPR means number of periods. Out of the number of periods, when I put 3, that means for the third period, I need to calculate the principal portion. The same thing for the interest. There is no change. When it comes to the cumulative principle, anyway, I need to calculate the equated installment, and cumulative means from the starting period till the end period. So these two periods I need to consider. So start period and end period, these two are also required. Otherwise, how can it becomes a cumulative? So extra two parameters are there. Even to calculate cumulative interest also, these two parameters are required. Friends, I'm just writing all these because I just want to give you a glance of all the financial functions. Before even we go to Excel, we must be in a position to know exactly what this concept is and what are the minimum parameters which are required to calculate any function. I request everyone to open one blank Excel file. I request everyone, please open one blank Excel file and please go along with me. These all functions, one or other day, you will be using. Better late than never. So let's all start working from today. I'm sure by the end of today's session, you will have better understanding about how this function works. I request everyone, please open one blank Excel file. Then let's put a heading called NPV. Right? This is the first function I'm explaining. Let us take a case study. Everyone, please go along with me so that the answers also you can compare. Otherwise, if you take a different values, you cannot compare the answers. Rate, that's what very important to calculate net present value. The rate, let's say 10%. And what are the parameters? These all are the list of the functions, and this is the working. So to calculate NPV, rate is required. Then what other things are required? Cash inflow or cash outflow. Then initial cash investment, initial outflow, or else you can write initial investment. Let's say 10,000 rupees. first year initial investment is outflow, right? So that has to be minus. After 1 year, I'll be getting 5,000. After second year, I'll be getting 6,000. After third year, I'll be getting, let's say, 5,000. You better select all these, keep the comma format with the 0 decimal. Right? Normally, I'm taking you all to your, college days. Manually, how we calculate NPV? Let us try first. This is the particulars. Then this is the cash inflow or cash outflow. Then I'm going to have a discount factor. I don't know how many of you remember this calculation. Then I'll multiply my discount factor with cash inflow or cash outflow. Right? Then the total of this is nothing but my NPV. That is the manual way we calculate the NPV, right? First, for the initial investment, discounting factor is always 1. First year, simple. 1 divided by 1 plus this whole to the power of 1. Right? I hope you all are agree with me. If you have any deviation, you can put in the chat box. So 1 by 1 plus 10% whole to the power of 1. In Excel, to the power we put as an exponential, we put like this, enter. For the second year, the same formula, Control C, Control V, you can just change it as a 2. The third one, same thing, Control C, Control V, you can put it as now. Let me put in the bold. Let me keep it as a discounting factor. Now I need to multiply this into this, equal to this, multiply with this, copy and paste. Keep the comma format, 0 decimal. Now the total is nothing but my NPV. I have used alt equal to here, or else you can write a sum function which can join these four. 3,261 is the NPV for these cash inflows and outflows when the rate of interest is 10%. Let me take this as a 2,000. It's in negative. Let's take this as a 2,500. It's positive 368. I'll give you 1 minute time. I request you to complete this. These are nothing but the headings. Yeah. This is the formula. Everyone, please have a look into the formula. This is the formula I've taken. So 1 plus rate whole to the power of 1. You can put F4. You can copy and paste. But when you copy and paste, since 1 is the constant, the same 1 will appear below. That's the reason I need to change it as a 2. I need to change it as a 3. But Sharon, when I have 20 years, 30 years, I cannot change this again and again, right? Correct. This is a manual method. Concentrate. This is a manual method. And I'm going to have one more column here. That is the formula-based automatic method. That means here, this also I can take it as a 0, right? So if it is a formula, that excuse me. In this case, I have taken the same, but everywhere I have changed it. I can simply copy this and paste it. But the problem is, I need to change it as a 1. I need to change it as a 2. I need to change it as a 3. When you are making a bigger financial modeling where 20 years, 30 years, you need to take it, it's going to be very difficult. In those cases, I'll give you a technique. So what I'll be doing, I'll take the same thing, Control C, Control V. But friends, when you want to increase the number in MS Excel, one function is very supportive. That is the row function. What the row function does, let me first explain here. Equal to row. How many arguments are there? One argument. Is it mandatory? No, it's an optional argument. How do you know that it's an optional argument? Because square bracket is there. When an argument is covered with a square bracket, that means it is the optional argument. If I close this, wherever I am writing the formula, I am writing the formula in G3 cell. In the G3 cell, 3 is the row number. It's going to give me the row number 3. If I copy this and paste below, my row number will be 4. My row number will be 5. My row number will be 6, and so on. So whenever I want to have the serial number, I can take the support of the row function. How the row function is supportive for us, in the same way, the column function also is supportive. Close bracket. When I just go towards the right side, you will have the serial number. The answers are 7, 8, 9, 10, because I am in the 7th column, I am in the 8th column, 9th column, 10th column. Generally, when we are trying to make any projections, we are going to make horizontally. If that is the case, you can use the column function. In this case, instead of 0, you know what I can write? I can put a row function. What is the answer for this function? That is 7. So if I want to get 0 here, what I'll be doing? Minus 7, close bracket. Try to understand. I'm doing a small maths here. Row function gives me 7 as an answer. I'm keeping minus 7 so that this becomes 0. When I copy and paste this below, 1 divided by 1 plus is a constant. Will appear. Will give me a result of 8 because my answer is there in the 8th row. 8 minus 7, that becomes 1. When I further copy paste, 9 minus 7, that becomes 2. Enter, copy and paste. This is the formula method. So whenever you have time, you can just go through this. For the time being, I'm just giving you 1 minute. Please complete this. Friends, when we are trying to make any bigger financial modelings, until you know the functions better and also how the functions behave, it's very difficult to prepare the financial modeling. You may go correct once, but not every time. You may go wrong. So this is very important. There is one problem in this formula. Can anyone put in the chat box what may be the problem in this formula? It's very simple. When I just delete this row, check it out, this becomes minus 1. Why? Because my row number is now 6. 6 minus 7 is minus 1. So if any of my staff later mistakenly delete this row, this becomes minus 1. So what I will be doing in those cases, instead of taking row as a blank, I will refer A6, right? So $A, $6. So when I put the $A, $6, every time it will take the 6th row. Now let me take 6, right? So now what happened? Even user enters anything, next time also it will be A6 only. Okay, otherwise, even if you want to take in this case, you can directly take this. So I can take in this case, I've taken A6, so that becomes A6. So every time when I copy and paste, that becomes 6 only. So when I enter, now you can copy and paste, right? I'm sorry. This becomes, this becomes 6, right? No, I need to take now $A6. When I copy and paste, this automatically change. You can play with the row function. It's not that standardly this is the way you need to do it. You can just play in whatever the way you want. Okay, so this is the way we calculate NPV. But now I have not used the NPV function. This is a manual calculation. If I want to use the NPV function equal to NPV, first argument, what it is asking? Rate of interest. This is what the rate of interest, comma, You must be very careful while applying a NPV function. I've seen many people select like this, which is a very wrong habit, because value one is not having a meaning that down payment. Value one means first year cash inflow and outflow. Value two means second year cash inflow and outflow. So this should not be from B6, this should be from B7, close bracket. But Sharon, when I take only from B7, it consider only this value, right? Yes. After this NPV, you put plus this value, because anyway for which I'm going to have a discounting factor 1. So if you remove this, you know what is the total of this? This total will equal to this total. Take it out, 10,368. Now I'll be putting plus this value. Now you will get exactly the correct value. Now this is what the NPV function, right? So one important point you must understand, here you need to keep start from the first year till the last year. After the NPV, you put the plus symbol, select this. Once you enter, you will get 368. Okay. Now let's go into the XNPV function, what that function does. This is also very simple function. Now let's go into the second case study. Everyone please go along with me. XNPV. Since these all are small functions, I'm sure you can follow me easily. Now let me take the rate is 10% only. Now I want to take date, and I want to take cash inflows and cash outflows. Okay. Now let's say, let me take today's date equal to today. As you all know, today date will give us a today's date. Please show how you put to the power function. I missed it. Ma'am, yes ma'am. This one ma'am, this is what you were talking about. Sorry, I missed your question ma'am. Oh, power. Okay, how to get the power symbol? It is shift and 6. Yeah, it's not alt. Yeah, it is shift. Dhanush, thank you for the support. Ma'am, you got the point? Yeah. Friends, I request you can maybe forward the link to your friends and other people, whoever to whom you feel these functions are very important. Maybe they can also join. Okay, so let me go ahead. Let's look into the XNPV function. So I've taken today's date, this plus 45. I'm just taking some random, this plus 182, and this plus 495, and this plus 25, and this plus 685. I've taken some random dates. For your information, let me open you the dates. What are the formulas I've taken so that you can see. Friends, you all can take these. From the date, I've taken plus 45, plus 182, plus 495, plus 25, plus 685. Here I am in the assumption that the cash inflows and outflows happen inconsistently in the business. If that is the case, how can I calculate the NPV? So the function name is the XNPV. So cash inflows and outflows I had to write. Let me take here, let's say there is an inflow 85,000 initially, or else let's take the outflow of minus 50,000, and this is 25,000, and this is 15,000, then this is minus 12,000, and this is 25,000, and this is 25,000, or else let's take this as 30,000. So some random cash inflows or outflows are taken. So on this date there is an outflow. After 45 days there is some inflow again. There is a, after 182 days, there is some inflow. After 495 days, there is some outflow and so on. In this case, how can I calculate the NPV? So what is the function here I'm going to use? The function I'll be using is XNPV. XNPV is the function in which we are going to put the dates also. Let's take the rate. My rate is this, comma. What are the values? These all are my values, comma. What are the dates? These all are my dates, close bracket. I'll just wait for another 1 minute. Please prepare the example, then write this formula. Then I'll explain. I'll give you 1 minute time so that you can prepare the formula. It seems my screen got disconnected. Yeah. Okay. So IRR is having only one argument, that is nothing but the value. Second argument is guess. Since guess is having the square bracket, I'm ignoring. Let me enter so that you will simply get 12%. So at the rate of 12%, my NPV will become 0. That is the meaning of it, right? So IRR is the point at which now you calculate the NPV considering 12%. I'm sure your NPV is 0. So this is a very simple function called IRR. Now let me take the XIRR. XIRR is also the same. Let me use this case study, Control C. Now let me paste here. You can take the fourth one as XIRR. Everyone, please complete this part. IRR is something you just need to take all the values one below other. Example I have taken from the NPV example. From the same example I have taken. Don't miss the next part when I talk about the equated installment. I'm going to cover very elaborately the EMI table, how to calculate the amortization table, financial year wise. So that will be in the second part. So maybe after 5-10 minutes, I'll be covering. Done everyone till here? Okay, so let's look into the XIRR. So this is the IRR. Since inconsistent periods are there, because it's not exactly after 1 year, the function I'll be using is XIRR. Earlier I got just the values and guess. Now I got the dates also because the periods are inconsistent. Now let me take the values, comma, let me take the dates, close bracket, enter. Surprising, this is also 12%. Now let me change a couple of values. Maybe if I take 28,000, see, this becomes 17%. Maybe if I take it 24,000, this becomes 10%. So it's not exactly 10% because I kept it as a 0 decimal. This is 10.1148%. So this is the way we calculate NPV, XNPV, IRR, XIRR. So let me keep this sheet as a NPV, IRR. Okay, so we covered 4 functions. Don't worry. So these all functions, as I said, are set of functions. Once you cover one function, the remaining all functions you can understand very easily. So I'm sure you all got a clear understanding when to use NPV, when to use XNPV, when to use IRR, when to use the XIRR. If you have any question till this point, you can let me know. Okay, clear. So concentrate next half an hour to 40 minutes. Gonna be most important where I'll be talking about the equated installment part. Right? Before going into equated installment, we'll cover 2 simple functions. One is the present value, the other one is the future value. So let me cover the first function as a future value. This is the 5th function. What this function does, future value. If you want to calculate the future value, first we should have the present value. Let's say I want to know 1 lakh rupees if I invest into a business and the business promised me that, or else I kept this into a bank. The bank promised me that every year I'll be getting 8% as the interest. Then years is nothing but the number of periods. So henceforth I'll use the word instead of years, NPER means number of periods. I want to know after 1 year. Can anyone tell what is the future value? Manually also I can calculate. How? Simple. My interest is this into 8%. Yes or no? Plus my initial value. So it's very simple. This into 1 plus this, close bracket, enter. Obviously, because I'll get my principal after 1 year. And for this 1 year on 1 lakh, 8% is 8,000. So after 1 year, I'll be getting 1 lakh 8,000. Now, can I use the same thing by using the formula method? Equal to future value. What is the rate? My rate of interest is this, comma. How many number of periods? That is 1 period, comma. Are you getting anything every month? Is there anything equated? No. 0, comma. What is the present value? My present value is this. Close bracket. Here you need to understand in the financial functions one small thing. You know what is that? When the present value is positive, the future value will be negative. When the present value is negative, the future value will be positive. The understanding at the back end of the Excel is that when this is a inflow, after 1 year you will get outflow. Let's say if this is the outflow, that means it is going out of your pocket to a bank. Then after 1 year you will get a positive. Now let me enter. It is 1,08,000. Just to overcome this minus confusion, let me start my formula with minus. So exactly I'll get this one. Check it out. Manual method, right? So this is the manual method and this is a simple future value function. So just to display what are the functions, let me write this. I'll give you 1 minute time. Please complete this. Please complete this in 1 minute. Don't miss the next week. Next week, most probably I'll be taking the a sample case study on the financial modeling. We'll take a small project. So considering a small project, how we can prepare the financial modeling using all these functions. That's what I'm tentatively fixing the topic. If any change in the topic, I'll let you know through the different social media. Whatever the working I'm doing, that will be stored. That will be later kept in the website and I'll keep it in the description of this video. Sir, what is type in the formula? Sir, type is something, it's optional. Okay, good that you asked me. This is basically, do you want the interest to be accrued at the end of the period or beginning of the period? You know, even while we calculate the NPV also, every time in our exams, they used to have an assumption that interest is always accrued at the end of the period. So by default, it is end of the period. But if you want to specifically mention at the beginning of the period, then you need to give 1. So even if you ignore, it will take end of the period. Right? Great. This is the future value. Now, let me have present value. Present value is exactly the same. Let me put 6. It is present value. Can you tell me what may change in case of present value? It's very simple. Let's say future value. Let's say after 1 year, I may get this. I may get 1,08,000 after 1 year. And the rate of interest the bank has said is 8%. The number of periods I'm going to keep is 1. Now, future value, sorry, present value, manual. I'll give you 1 minute. Could you please put in the chat box, in the live comment box, what is the formula manually you are going to write to get the present value? I'll give you just 1 minute time. Please tell me what is the formula. You can put in the live comment box. Yeah, I'm sure this can be easily done. Today we have calculated the present value factorial, right? The present value factorial is something 1 divided by this and so on. So let me calculate the first year 1 plus 8% whole to the power of 1. You know, this will give me a discounting factor. That means one value, 1 rupee after 1 year, how much it costs today. So it is 0.92592. Okay, I hope you all agree with me. Yes, that is also fine. So let me have a present value. This is a discounting factor. I can simply put for this discounting factor into this, right? This discounting factor I can calculate for the present value. Or else one more method, as ma'am suggested in the live comments, it's very simple, because if it is only 1 year, this is possible. I can simply calculate, you know what, I can take this into 108 divided by 100. So I think this is a different answer, ma'am. It's not correct. Yeah, this is giving a different answer. Okay, but I know that you all can understand this. This will give you the present value factor, and it's going to give you beta. Now what I'll be doing, I'll simply calculate using the formula based. Yeah, 100 divided by 110, that's correct. So equal to this into 100 divided by 108. Absolutely, this is the second method. Instead, I can use a simple function that is nothing but equal to present value. Rate is this, comma, number of periods is 1 period, comma, PMT is nothing. That means no equated value. Future value is 1.08 lakh. Since it's a positive, my present value will become a negative. When I put minus, that becomes a positive. Say it out. You can calculate in any way. So based on a method, based on the case study, we can decide what function we can use. So this case study is about present value and future value. Yeah, correct now. So let me take this. We will work with the equated installment. Don't miss this part. Very important part. Friends, if you want to calculate anything with respect to the equated installment, there must be minimum 3 parameters. What are they? First, I want to know how much is the loan I'll be taking from the bank or any financial institution for that matter. Let's take 5 lakh. Then rate of interest, let us take 11.25%. Then number of periods, nothing but the years. Let's say I'll be paying in 10 years. This one, let us take 10 lakh. So 10 lakh, 11.25%, I'll take 5 years. Everyone, please take this case study. I want everyone to complete this case study. We will be calculating the amortization table. That means EMI calculator. Please take 3 variables called loan, 10 lakh, rate, 11.25%, and years, 5. Now, you can exactly put in the same place so that there will not be any deviation with respect to the formulas. Now come to A4, write EMI. So what is the EMI? Or else you can write instead of EMI first PR. That means period. You can put nth period, nth PR. That means the period number. You can put any wordings here. Or else simply you can put the serial number or period number. I kept here for the time being PER. Whatever the language you can use, that's fine. How many periods for which I'm going to pay EMI? Because it is 5 years, 5 into 12 is 60. So I'll be putting, let me keep 1. Now you can simply select this and you can drag this below. So you can, okay, 1 second. You can just put 2 and you can select these 2 and you can simply drag this till 60. Let me go down. Let me go till 60. Friends, whenever I go down, my variables are disappearing because when I'm scrolling down, I cannot see my first row. So what I'll be doing, everyone please keep the cursor at A5, go to the view tab, then you can click freeze pane. So that even if I go down, my headings are at the same place. Right? Now, I'm sure you all built this basic one. No problem, take time. Everyone please take loan as a 10 lakh. Rate is 11.25%. Years are 5. Then PR is period. Period number 1, 2, 3 till 60. You please take it. Because for each period we are going to calculate. Now if I want to calculate the EMI, what is the function, for the EMI? It is PMT. I'll be taking here PMT. So equal to PMT, right? Rate. What is the rate of interest? 11.25%. But you need to understand 11.25% is per year. I need to put divided by 12 because I'm calculating equated monthly installment. If it is a equated yearly installment, you can simply take 11.25%, comma. What is the second argument? How many periods I'm going to pay? You can take this into 12 because I'll be paying 60 periods. I'll be paying 60 periods, comma. Third argument is the present value. That means how much loan we are getting today. It is 10 lakh rupees. In this case, there is no future value. Type is by default. Interest will be accrued at the end of the period. So let me close bracket. But before entering, because I'm going to copy and paste this formula below, when I copy and paste this formula, my variables also will change. D1 will become D2, F1 will become F2, B1 will become B2. So what I'm going to do, let me select this, use the shortcut F4. Also, let me select F1, use the shortcut F4. Let me select this B1 cell reference, use the shortcut F4. I hope everyone are writing the same formula. And as I told you, because I'm getting the loan today, that means which is coming into my pocket, which is a cash inflow. Every month I'll be paying the EMI. That is an outflow. That's a negative. So if I want to make it positive, start your formula with a minus so that your result will come positive. I'm just displaying this formula. I'll give you 1 minute time. Please complete this. I'll give you 1 minute time. Please complete this. Okay. So once I enter, I'll get 21,867 is the EMI. Now what I'll be doing, just keep the cursor at the edge, right side bottom, just double click that plus symbol. Once I double click, for every month, every period, the same. Don't surprise why the same value is there, because the name itself is suggesting equated monthly installment. So it is equally distributed for all the periods. Okay. Now, this is fine, the EMI. I want to know what is the principal portion for each period. There is a function I have already covered. That function is PPMT. So everyone just copy paste it. Let's look into the function called PPMT. So let me write, yes, Sushant Kumar, that is a dynamic function that is part of Office 365. Whoever having a sequence function, they can also use it. Okay, I'm not going into that because maybe some of the audience still using the below version of Office 365, right? So let's take the principle. So let me write the PPMT. Again, PPMT may give me the negative value. So to make it positive, I'll start with minus PPMT rate. What is the rate? My rate of interest is this divided by 12 because I'm calculating per month, comma. What is the second argument? For which period? My period gonna be 1. Because for first period, I want to calculate the equated installment, comma. Sorry, for the first period, I want to calculate the principal portion, comma. Number of periods. Select this, give the dollar symbol into 12 because my periods are 60. Then what is the present value? This is what my present value, close bracket. Friends, extra argument I have taken, rate divided by 12. PR is the extra argument I have taken, that is a period. I'm not giving any dollar symbol for this because when I copy and paste this below, it should automatically take second period, third period, fourth period, and so on. Now let me enter this. Once I copy and paste this below, you will get the principal portion. If you observe, your principal amount is small initially. When you are going towards the maturity, the principal portion is big, right? Now, let's calculate the interest portion. Now, I'll write the formula for this one also. Later, you can practice. Now, interest portion. Same formula equal to IPMT this time. In fact, instead of writing the formula, you can do Control C of this entire thing. You can just do Control V. The only thing you need to change is you have to change instead of I, instead of P, you can keep it as I. That's all. Remaining all are same. This is my rate of interest. This is the period. This is the number of periods. This is the present value. If I enter, copy and paste, I'll get the interest. As I told you, interest will be small in the initial, big in the initial days, initial periods. When it goes towards the maturity, it will become 0. Check it out. So everyone, please write this formula. I request you to please write this formula. Yeah, this can be done using the dynamic arrays. There are a couple of functions which are part of the dynamic arrays, including what Sushant Kumar was mentioning, the sequence function. Then I need not to copy paste till the 60th period. Once I write a sequence function, it automatically considers till end. If I change the years, let's say if I make it 10, automatically it will take me till 120th period. Since the time is less, I'm not going into that. Maybe in the future videos, I'll be keeping how to work with the dynamic arrays. Please complete this part. So I calculated the principal, I calculated the interest, both. Now just to verify this is correct or wrong, you know, validation controls are the most important controls. I can put equal sign. This minus this must be 0. Exactly. That means for each period, I know what is the principal, what is the interest. I'm just showing you the formula. I request everyone to note down this formula in your Excel. Make sure that you are getting the same answer. I'm sure you all completed this part. Now, I want to calculate the cumulative principal portion. How to calculate the cumulative? Friends, this is your EMI calculator. So this is sufficient. But I want to calculate the cumulative principal portion. What is the cumulative principal portion? It's very simple. Sum of this column, this, give the dollar symbol for this. I've explained in my earlier videos of my YouTube channel n number of times how to keep the cumulative formula. Here what I have taken C5 colon C5. C5 I made it freezed. I got the dollar symbols so that if I copy and paste this, it will take C5 colon C6. If I further take a C5 colon C7 and so on, so that this becomes the cumulative. See, check it out. This is the cumulative. By the end, exactly I paid 10 lakh rupees. Now, what is my interest? Let me have the cumulative interest portion. It is also the same. So equal to sum, this, column this, you can give the dollar symbol for this, enter, copy and paste. Now, on 10 lakh rupees, I am paying 3,12,038 rupees. Total put together for 5 years, I'll be paying 13,12,038 rupees if it is 11.25% as the interest rate. Right? Now, this I calculated manually. If I want to calculate the same thing using the formula, is it possible? Yes. I'm calculating the same thing using the formula. Concentrate. This is the method using the formula. I told you, right, in Excel, there are two more functions called cumulative principal, cumulative interest. Equal to, the function is CUMPPMT. Friends, in the financial functions, it's not, you need to by heart the function. You just need to look into the syntax and you need to just put all the arguments in the syntax one after other. That's all. Rate. What is the rate? This is my rate divided by 12 because I'm calculating for month. Number of periods. This is the year into 12 because I'm going to calculate for 60 periods. Present value. What is the present value? That means the loan, how much I have taken this, comma, what is the starting period? I want to consider this as a starting period. Let me freeze this. I kept the dollar symbol. Why? Because when I copy and paste it, my starting period has to be same and my end period has to be different. Now I want to take the end period the same thing. But this time I'll not take any dollar symbol. Why? Because now my start period is 1, end period is 1. That means for the first period, it will calculate the principal. When I copy this and paste below, my start period is 1, end period is 2. That means for the first period and second period, cumulatively, it's going to give me what is the principal, that is 25,102. What is the last argument? Comma. The type, this time it is a mandatory. Let me take a type as the end of the period, close bracket. Please concentrate. This is a very simple formula I have written. Maybe if you look into the formula, it looks a little bigger, but you can easily understand. Now let me zoom little out so that you can check what exactly it is. Yeah. Now this is the rate. This is the number of periods. This is the present value. This is the starting period from which I want to calculate the cumulative. This is the end period till which I want to calculate. This is the type 0. I'll give you 1 minute time. You can complete this part. I can give you 1 minute time. You can complete this part. CUMPPMT is the function which can give us cumulative principal for from X period till Y period. In this case, from first period till whatever the period for which I'm pasting this formula. Don't worry, take your time, complete this formula. Then we'll compare the manual cumulative principal and cumulative interest. Let me start with this formula with minus so that my answer will become positive so that I can compare. Let me enter. Exactly the same, right? So you can, if you want, you can give the rupee symbol for this. Now you can simply drag this down. Okay, exactly the same. Now if I want to have a cumulative interest, don't do anything except copy this, go here, paste, then wherever PRINC is there, you can take it, CUMIPMT, enter, copy and paste. Now I want the same format. You can select this, use this format painter, and you can just go up, just keep here, exactly the same format will appear. So the same formula, just function name I have changed. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't worry, this entire file I'm going to upload in the website, and the description and the link of the website, I'll keep it into the description. It is actually very simple. You can go to the excelism.in/YouTube, where you can find all the do it with me series of working files. In this case, I have taken PRINC. In the cumulative interest, I have taken CUMIPMT. That's the only difference. Right? If I want to check whether this is correct or wrong, this minus this plus this minus this, don't surprise, everything will accurately match. So let me just do autofit. I'm just trying to do the autofit so that it exactly fits. This is what my table, my friends, right? If anyone having any question till here, please let me know. Next 10 minutes, I'm going to cover the very important aspect. We have prepared the equated installment table. Now, I want to have a summary with respect to the financial year wise. Please concentrate. Now, what I'll be doing, I'll insert one more column. I'll just cut all these. You can also do along with me. You can cut these, you can paste here. Don't copy and paste. You can cut and you can paste, right? So please concentrate. Yeah, this is the period. I started from loan year. Now, friends, here I want to take start date. I want to take the date from which my loan is starting. You can put any date. Let me take 1st January 2019 or else 1st January 2016. Please concentrate. Please concentrate. So my EMI is due after 1 month. Yes or no? So due date. So what is the due date? Let's say I've taken the loan on 31st December or else anything is fine. Now I'll be taking equal to this. Okay, I need to take the month and the date of this. So how to take the month and the date of that? It's very simple. I'll use a function EOMONTH. Everyone till here, please complete first. Next 15 minutes gonna be very important and interesting. I'll be calculating financial year wise how much is the principal, how much is the interest. In fact, I'm more interested in that calculation. I've taken my start date is this, and I'm going to have due date here. I've taken my. Please complete till here. I request you to complete till this point. Okay. No problem. You can take time. I'll give you 1 more minute. You just insert 1 more column. You just move all these towards the right side. Then you can just take the start date so that if I change the start date, this all has to change automatically. That's what my target. Now, friends, let me write the formula here. There's a function called EOMONTH that will take you to the end of the month. So this is the date, start date, comma. How many months I want to take it? Now let's take this one. This, that means it's nothing but let me expand this so that you can see the formula. Later I can reduce that. EOMONTH from this date, comma, this. But the answer, if I enter, you know what? After 1 month, if I add to this, I'll be into the February 1st. Month end of the February 1st will become 28th February 2016. Which is wrong actually. So let me convert this into the date format. 29 because it's a leap year. I'm sorry. Leap year 29, which is wrong actually. I need to reach to the end of this month. So what I'll be doing, I'll put -1. So that 1 minus 1, 0. 0 means same month, end of the month. If I enter, exactly I'll get the same. Please concentrate this function. EOMONTH is a function which talk about end of the month. So from this date, let me keep it as a dollar. Let me use F4 shortcut so that this will not change. Starting from this month, if I add 0 months, I'll go to the end of that particular month. If I copy and paste below, 2 minus 1, 1, next month, end of the month, next month, third month, fourth month. If I double click this, till the last month, end of the month. Okay, so this is the way I can calculate the due date. For the time being, I'm just keeping this entirely in, I'm hiding for the time being this entire part. Even, yeah, this till here, let me hide it just for the time being. Okay, now you can do so many methods. You can use the financial year. One more fun, you can write the formula for the financial year. You can do it. Otherwise, you know what I can simply do? I can make a small pivot table. What I can do, select this entire thing, go to the insert, select this portion. Everyone first complete this EOMONTH. First, please complete this EOMONTH. I'll give you another 1 minute time. Please bear with me. Maybe another 10 minutes. I'll close this. Write this formula so that I'll reach to the end of the month. If you observe, exactly after 5 years, 2020, 31st December, I am. The loan will get closed by that time. Please complete this column. Okay, if I enter, I'll get the due date. Now let me select these all 5 columns. Go to the insert, click pivot table. Don't do anything. By default, it has taken the same as a selection. I don't want in the new Excel worksheet. I want to get my pivot table into the same Excel. So what I'll be doing, I'll keep my cursor somewhere here. Now I'll just click OK. So everyone please concentrate. The simple thing which I did, I've selected this area. I just selected this area. Then I went into the insert. I asked Excel to insert the pivot table. Then I have taken the existing worksheet. In the existing worksheet, I have selected the place here so that I got the pivot table. Now, when you keep the cursor in the pivot table layout, you will get the pivot table fields also. You will get the pivot table fields also. Now, friends, I want to take the due date in the rows. No problem. By default, it has grouped everything together. It is very good actually. Otherwise, I can simply right click and I can ungroup. Then what I'll be doing, you know, I will take the principal, then I'll take the interest in the values. Let me select these 2 columns. Let me give comma format 0 decimals. Friends, I did nothing. Let me remove all these items and explain you again. Till here, please complete first. Till here, you can complete it. Yeah, Shah Bharat. Welcome, sir. I'm surprising. I thought today more crowd will come because these all are most important functions for finance domain. But in fact, out of all the 3 sessions, today I found very less crowd. Only 15 people are live. It's okay. Anyway, this video will be there in the YouTube. People can come back and they can watch whenever they want. But it's always it will be more effective if you do along with me. Okay, so now what I'll be doing, I'll take the due date. So once you take the date, by automatically it will be grouping. Right click and I can ungroup. Now let me take the principal. Let me take the interest. So let me close this. I want to convert this into the tabular format. You can just click the tabular format. Now you can group it now. Now right click. I want to group month wise, quarter wise, year wise. See, automatically your grouping appeared. Now what I'll be doing, I can arrange into my own method. I'll be taking years column wise and so on. Now check it out. You can, this is what your final EMI table. So for principal and for interest, if you want principal and interest one after other, simple. You can just move it whatever the sequence you want, right? So this is the way we calculate the EMI table, even financial year wise. Let me show the report. If you take the values besides this, then for every year you will get what is the principal, what is the interest. If you take years after this, first all principals will come, then the interest payment will come, right? So we can just take it out based on this, for which financial year, for which month, we can calculate this. This is the table which is very much required in case of financial modeling, so that directly I can check it out and I can get, by using the sum ifs function, how much is the interest and how much is the principal. I can directly book into the financials. That's all for today's session. You can just share this link to other members. I'm sure these all topics may be very required in our day-to-day work. Maybe members may not aware that the live is going on these particular functions. But anyway, every Thursday, don't miss the session. Sharp at 11 o'clock. Next week, I'll come with a new topic. I request you, please personally message me if you would like to cover me a specific topic on a specific subject, so that I'll come with a case studies, so that will make every Thursday more interesting. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. See you all next Thursday. Do subscribe this channel and you can join into our Telegram group. Thank you. Bye bye.